Good morning, this is Wakaka from Baum-kuchen. I am calling in from our home in the canyon, and today I would like to talk about one of the TN refill, TN Accordion Folder refill, which I used on a recent trip to Europe. And yeah, we've carried this refill for quite a while at BK, but it was really my first time using it personally. So I would like to share what I liked about it, as well as things I might change next time, and also how I used. I really love that Traveler's Notebook is so flexible in a way that even though I have this cover for 18 years, since 17 years, going 18, since 2008, I keep changing what goes inside to fit the seasons of where I am at. And it's just a really beautiful, continuous relationship that I feel like I'm building. So I am really excited to have tried out a new kind of refill to bring in more diversity to how I might use my Traveler's Notebook in the future. And I'm excited to be able to share. So this is the setup that I took to our recent trip to Germany and Ireland. I had my Traveler's Notebook, and in it I had my GU monthly, just because everywhere I go I do need my master planner in case something comes up for our upcoming family schedules or business schedule. And I also was carrying this extra accordion fold notebook, and brand new, the accordion fold paper refill looks like this. It's TN 32. It's accordion fold paper with a blank accordion pages. And you can kind of tell on the packaging that it opens up like this. It's really, really cool when, I don't know, I just really love the fact that they tried something so different from their regular refill that they usually do. And you can kind of see, this is their recent 11 trip regular refill, and you can see how thin the accordion fold paper is compared to the regular size refill. And I took this without really knowing what to expect, because I've never used it before, and I wasn't sure what kind of journaling I wanted to do. But recently I have been getting more into just doodling and adding more paintings and drawings instead of just having like long form essay journals. I kind of knew that this would allow me to expand the way that I journal on the road and be a little more spontaneous and have fun. So I had my accordion fold, and then for the pen and pencil related things, I was carrying the TSO leather pen roll, and I had my art toolkit watercolor palette that I really, really enjoy using recently. You can see how it's being pretty well loved and messy. And between the art toolkit, color palette, and watercolor, travel watercolor brush, which can hold extra water within this chamber, so I can actually just start painting watercolor paint without having any other source of water. Between these two and mechanical pencil, I think this is something I borrowed from Frito that I had on this trip. It was just, I think I could have just gone with these three things, really. But also really liked having other fountain pens and pens too. But if I wanted to be really minimum, I think I could have gone with three sets of tools. So anyways, I was carrying this, and then I had my accordion fold. And one thing I really, really love about my accordion fold paper refill instead of regular refill is this ability to be able to just spread over multiple pages. Sometimes I feel like the regular refill from Traveler's Notebook is a little too narrow for me to sort of be open and expanding with my drawing or what about I'm writing. And that always kind of held me back. But when I was looking at the accordion paper folder, I was like, oh, maybe I could just use this as an entire canvas instead of limiting myself into a panel by panel. So that's kind of how I started my journey. So I started my trip with like this, and I started writing in this one. And I think there's no right or wrong way of doing this, but this is just kind of how it unfolded on this trip. But I started on the left, and I just sort of moved my way into the first front side panel of this spread from left to right. And at the beginning I was feeling a little bit more restricted, maybe just getting warmed up. So I could kind of feel that I was narrowing myself into a panel by panel feeling, even though I wanted to just go over the line. But as I felt like as I was going into the days on our trip, I felt more and more in a way free. So you can kind of see my little doodles, stretching over the page line and stuff. And really, I just, like the once you start to pass like a couple pages, I feel like we get in this mode of like creativity where it feels so open and so free, and you're no longer really restricted to what you were thinking maybe you were going to do. So each day I doodled or wrote or painted just a couple things, or just in the moment what came through. And on this trip, I wanted to specifically use more of my own hand drawing to capture and document the time together instead of collecting. Like I love usually collecting stickers or like paper napkins and stuff. I'll tear it and then glue it. But since space is limited and some of the things can get a little big, and also I wanted to just really try to see if I can create a refill that captures, or notebook that captures my time with the family more through my own drawings and writings instead of relying on what other people might have created. So you can kind of see throughout my spread my little doodles and drawings that I don't necessarily think they're like perfect or really good, but to me it just condenses that experience that we shared together. Let's see, some of my favorite drawings. Maybe this one I really love. This is the day that we went to Busum, which is in northern Germany nearby Hamburg, where it's a huge expanded space of it's called tidal flat, but it's like it's basically when it gets low tide, this surface gets exposed, and it's this muddy, sandy space that you can just walk out while it's low tide all the way to where the horizon line of the water is. And it's always such a beautiful experience. I don't know, it's something we've done for many, many years with the kids when they were little all the way, and they wanted to do it again this year. So I really enjoyed painting ourselves with the clothes we were wearing. And I don't know, it's kind of probably hard to see who is who, but because I painted it and I tried to pick the clothes that everybody was wearing that day, I don't know, it just encapsulates such a special moment that we had together. We also did a lot of a cafe stop on this trip, so there was a lot of special desserts that we got to try. And then the more that as the day went on, I just got into just kind of like, just draw it. Like, it got a lot easier over time to just start picking up and start doodling, and anything really went. And I think this one was maybe like halfway into a time in Germany. Instead of up until this, I was capturing that day, but this last spread of the front, I just felt like, oh, I want to just paint the garden of my parents-in-law's home. Frida's mom takes really good care of her garden and had some beautiful spring flowers emerging. So I started painting her garden a little bit, and then with it, Coco wanted to paint a Luna moss that she was actually using as inspiration for her embroidery that she was doing on her sweater. So Coco actually drew this for me, and then I went in and added a more bird motif that I was inspired by some other artist reference that I had. Unfortunately, I don't have the artist's name, but it sort of became its own little, like a little universe here with a little bit of my observation, with a little bit of Coco's art, and then a little bit of something I was inspired by from other artists. And this spread actually, was in some way a mirror of what I ended up doing on my hunter bag from Peg and Owl. I don't know if you can see this, but I was embroidering on this strap, so it really ended up mirroring, this bag ended up mirroring on this spread as a bit of inspiration. And then I wasn't sure if I wanted to have a separate refill for our time in Germany and then time in Ireland, but as we were going about this, I was like, you know what, I think this whole trip will fit in this refill. So as we were leaving Germany, I transitioned from the front side of the panel to the back side of the panel, which is so that's the back side. And once again, you can kind of see how, let's see, back side is this side. Yeah, you can kind of see how sometimes I started using like this big space as a spread and just coordinate. And again, this was the back of my Peg and Owl, and you can see this in this motif throughout this refill, because it was such a significant part of my time in Europe that I was embroidering with this bag. And this is when I think we transitioned from Hamburg to Ireland, and I think by this time I was just getting really loose with my documentation and just really capturing what came through when some of the moments that we shared and discoveries and observations. And colors, I feel like, start to get shifting to green, because we saw Ireland was so green in so many ways, and it was so beautiful. And some of the ancient monument places that we went. And I think at the end I ran out of space to draw and paint, so I ended up just going and using the very back of the refill cover as well. And yeah, this was really fun to use. And in front, and since I had something going on in the back, I was like, oh, maybe I'll do something in the front too. So then I ended up doing a kind of like, I guess, like a luggage claim tag inspired little layout, where I put some of the major airport that we passed through on this trip. Either we were transiting or we were actually traveling, and then the dates. And it was so cute. Coco at the end added a little painting of mango in the front and then also in the back, just to have the consistency of the front and the back. And that's how I ended up using my refill. And once again, I really liked the ability to be able to have flex the split size. I mean, I could even have done something in a 3 in the front, or I mean, it'd be really, really cool to do just like the whole thing as one split. But I feel like if I were to use this refill again, I'll probably, and then if it was a trip, I'm thinking I might use like this page first of the left as like maybe like an index or travel itinerary, just as an introduction. And then maybe here too, in some way, like some overarching theme, and then go into kind of the details of our trip, like inside. And then maybe do a spread at a time, like two per spread, and then move to the back and then do once again 2 per spread. But that's just my thought. I'm not sure how I might use it next time. It might be get wild again and might just go all over, or maybe on the upcoming trip that we're going to Japan in summer, I might end up taking a couple of these refills and filling it up with different aspects of a trip. What I'm thinking of doing with this, I think I'm going to actually archive it in my regular notebook that I'm using for my day-to-day. Let's see. And it's a A5 size MD cotton thick notebook that feels like a really good sketchbook. I think I might actually, I might do is I might actually glue this refill into here. So that way it's in the context of chronological order of my sketchbook and stay within, within the kind of the flow of the journaling that I do in every day. I guess one more thing I like to talk about is how, well, it actually took watercolor and other mediums. It was, I used pretty juicy watercolor paint, but it never really seeped through on the back. I don't see any feathering or any ghosting from the back of the page. And, when you're painting and drawing and writing, it's nice to have a blank, like a clean slate to be able to draw instead of constantly seeing what's on the other side of the page. So I really appreciate that about this refill. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to using it again and experimenting it. It's probably one of the most playful refill that we have from TN that complements the overall Traveler's Notebook experience. So yeah, let me know if you use your accordion folder or you personally use it in the past and what you liked about it and what worked for you, because I'm looking for inspiration to find new ways of using this refill. So thank you, and I hope there was something interesting to find out in this chat, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.